What's going on, everybody? This is Alex Freeberg. Welcome back to another watch review. Today we are looking at the Parnis Submariner. Now I did a part 1 of this, which was the unboxing, and today we are doing part 2, which is the review. I got the opportunity to wear this for the past week and see how it feels, what I like, what I don't like, and I think I have a very in-depth feel and in-depth review of who this is for and the specs and what I think of this watch. So my initial impressions when I did the unboxing about a week ago was its heft. It had that sturdy feel, and it still does. I still feel that. I still feel like it's very well built. It really doesn't feel super cheap. There are a few areas where it does, and I will get to those. So what I want to first look at is what everyone's going to look at when they first see this watch, which is the dial and how it visually looks. Visually, it is very, very appealing. It has a beautiful ceramic bezel, which I love. It catches the light really well, as does the dial. The dial is super simple. I didn't want the sterile version. I like script being on my watches. I think it just gives it a better balance. So that's what I like about the dial. Very simple. One thing that's a big negative for me is the loom. Mine doesn't have loom at all. Not to say it has a little bit, I mean, I don't think they actually put loom on this at all. So I could be standing in the sun for an hour, catching up all the rays, go into the dark, and there is absolutely nothing. So I genuinely don't think there's any loom on this at all. So if loom is something you need, that's a huge negative. The Cyclops is actually pretty nice. I have nothing to say about that. Next, let's look at kind of the feel for it, the movement, the crown, and how that all works. So it does have hand winding, if you can hear that. And it's a good feel. It feels pretty good. It's a little gritty. It's only unidirectional hand winding, so if I go this way, it doesn't hand wind. The next thing to note is when I pop it out, start turning, it is a little gritty. When I start changing the time, it's a little gritty. It's not a smooth, super smooth feel. It's not bad, it's just, I question it a little bit, you know what I mean? So, it's not bad. The movement inside looks to be, all the research that I've done, is it a Miyota movement? And those are pretty reliable. I mean, they're a Japanese movement. Something to note is that I have had a few times when I'm trying to screw in this crown and it does not work. It catches on something and like gets hinked up, and it's not as reliable as I was hoping. So when I push it in like that, like it's getting caught, and now I can do it. But it actually is. It's done that quite a few times where it's gotten caught and it just doesn't actually screw in right. It's almost like it's misaligned in a weird way, like something isn't lining up in there. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. It hasn't been a problem because this whole week I've kept wearing it, so I haven't had to change the time or date or anything. So the power from this movement is really, really good. I'm getting like, I mean, I can't give an accurate assessment because I've been wearing it so often, but there was one day I did not wear it, and it was good for about 36 hours. And it did not, there's no signs of it slowing down. So I do not question I don't question how long it can last if you take this off. One thing to know about this though, this movement is a little noisy, but also the rotor in here will go and go and go and go and go and go and go. Let me see if I can. Can you hear that? It is moving and it is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and it just keeps going. Like that thing could go for a minute straight just by itself. So It's a little noisy. It kind of moves, it vibrates as it wobbles. It almost like vibrates the watch. So, it is what it is. Overall, I would give it a 6 out of 10. The movement itself and the way it interacts with the crown. It's not the best. I have much better. I've seen much better. The dial itself depends on who you are. I really like how the dial looks. I like the ceramic bezel. I do not like the loom at all. I'm actually really disappointed in that. So overall, I give that part of it, the dial piece, probably a 7 out of 10. So really not bad. So let's get to the bracelet. Where do I start with this one? I do not like the bracelet for a few reasons. One is this clasp right here. Just the way it interacts with it. Let me put it on real quick, actually, and I can show you a lot better what I'm talking about. So the way that the clasp works is there's almost this right there. You're looking at it. There is this gap right here in the way that this is positioned, and it annoys the crap out of me. It really does. I don't like it at all. I will say visually, from someone else looking at it, they don't notice it. When it's, when it's off in the distance, you can't really notice it. And I've even looked in the mirror to see if other people can see it, and it doesn't seem like they can. So it bothers me personally, but it doesn't look like it affects the look, of the watch at all. So, I give that piece of it a little knock, but the quality of the steel and the finishing is actually really good. So it kind of balances out in terms of this is really good. It has screw-down crown, or it has screw-in links, which is really nice, and they actually do screw out. I've seen reviews where people were like, "Oh, the screw-ins don't work." Mine actually work exactly how they're supposed to, so they work really nice. This is as far as you can get it out. So this piece right here doesn't go further to become flat to where it can fold around your hand. This is as far as the clasp goes. And that makes it really tough to put on. I have to squeeze and kind of put it at a certain angle to slip it on my wrist, which can be frustrating, depending, because if my skin is really dry and this doesn't catch on my skin at all, it goes on pretty easily. But, if I've taken a shower and my skin has a little bit of moisture on it, it catches, and this thing is really hard to put on. And so there isn't really a way to fix that unless you want to change the micro adjustments, put them out, and then put them back in. That's kind of the only thing that you can do if you want to do that. But it's kind of a pain. I just kind of force it and deal with it. So what are my final thoughts? My final thoughts are, I don't know if I'm going to keep this watch. I think I might sell it. For the pure fact of the rotor noise gets to me. It's a dive watch that you can't dive with because it only has 30 meters of water resistance, and it doesn't have any loom. I really like loom on my dive watches. I have 2 other dive watches, and I really like the loom on it. This one doesn't have any loom at all. The watch, the strap isn't that great, or the bracelet isn't that great. If it was a better bracelet, I might consider it. But all those factors combined, it's a great looking watch, but the wearability of it and what I want long term, it just isn't there. So I think this one's going to go up for sale. I'm not going to return it. I like selling them on like Facebook Marketplace or Let Go app or Let's Go app or whatever. I like selling them, getting that face to face, and it's just really fun for me. So I think I'm going to sell this one, to be honest. It's been really fun to wear. It's just, it's not all there for me. And I don't think it's there for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people share my opinions on the quality they're looking for in a long-term dive watch. And this just doesn't really meet all the criteria. So thank you for sticking around with me. I know this is a long review, but I had a lot of thoughts on it. And I wanted to share them with you so that you could make your own assessment on whether you want to buy this or not. So take everything I said with a grain of salt, make your own decisions, do your research, see if this is a good watch for you. If you're not going to use it for diving ever, this might be a great watch. If you don't care about rotor noise, it might be a great watch. Don't let my opinions shape your decisions. So with all that being said, be sure to like this video. Thank you for watching, and check out some of my other reviews. I will put a link to my unboxing in the description so that you guys can go see that if you'd like. So let me know, what you thought, your thoughts, if this is a good watch for you. If I was off the mark, if you own this watch and you completely disagree, let me know why. I'd love to hear it. Maybe you got a different movement or you got a different bracelet. So that's all I have. Thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a great day. Goodbye.